On Halloween night, the streets were alive with costumes, laughter, and glowing pumpkins. In the small town of Ravenwood, one place stood darker than the rest, the old house on Maple Hill. Even from far away, it looked wrong, like a shadow that didn't belong to the world around it. While children ran from door to door collecting candy and parents waited on sidewalks with warm drinks and easy smiles, the hill remained quiet, wrapped in a cold mist that never seemed to fade. Ethan pulled his jacket tighter as he and his friends reached the bottom of the path leading up to the rusted gate. They had all grown up hearing the stories. Teenagers claimed they saw shapes moving past the windows. Some swore they heard someone crying inside. Others said the house could whisper your name if you stood close enough after midnight. "It's probably just wind," Lucas said, though he didn't sound convinced. He kept staring at the top window, where the glass reflected nothing but darkness. Maya rolled her eyes, trying to be the brave one. "Every year we talk about it. Tonight we actually go in." Riley laughed nervously. "We step inside. We look around. We leave. 10 minutes. That's it." Ethan wanted to agree, but something about the hill made his stomach twist. The rest of the town felt far away, like they had already crossed into another place entirely. The sounds of Halloween, music, car horns, laughter, had disappeared behind them. Even the air felt heavier. They reached the gate. Rust covered its bars, and the chain around it hung loose, as if it had been opened recently. "See," Maya said. "Someone's been here." Or something, Ethan thought. For a moment, none of them moved. The house waited at the top of the hill, windows black, porch sagging, paint peeling like old skin. Ethan felt a strong urge to turn around, to go back to the bright streets and forget this stupid dare. But he could feel his friends watching him, waiting. Trying to prove he wasn't scared, Ethan pushed the gate open. It screamed into the night. The moment they stepped across the threshold, the front door swung shut behind them with a force that rattled the walls. The bang echoed through the hallway, rolling upward into the darkness above like thunder searching for a place to settle. Riley gasped and grabbed Ethan's arm. Lucas spun around and pulled at the handle, but it refused to move. "Okay," he muttered, forcing a laugh that collapsed halfway out of his mouth. "Someone's messing with us." "No one followed us," Maya said. Her voice sounded smaller now, swallowed by the house. Dust floated thick in the beam of Ethan's flashlight. The air smelled old, wet, and sour, like wood that had been crying for years. Wallpaper peeled in long strips from the walls, exposing veins of black mold beneath. Somewhere deeper inside, something dripped in a slow, patient rhythm. They took a few cautious steps forward. Their shoes left prints in the dust. For sets going in, none going out. Riley noticed it first. "Guys, look." On the wall hung a row of crooked picture frames. The glass was cracked, the images faded with age. Families stood on the porch of the same house decades earlier, smiling stiffly at the camera. But every face had been scratched away, carved into white blurs by something sharp and angry. Every face except the ones at the far edge. Fresh shapes. For figures, standing where empty air should have been. Ethan's throat tightened. The silhouettes were their height, their build, their clothes. "That's not possible," Maya whispered. Lucas backed away from the wall. "We just got here." Above them, a floorboard creaked. They all froze. Another step followed, slow and heavy, pressing down hard enough to make dust fall from the ceiling. Whoever, or whatever, was upstairs was in no hurry. It walked like it had all the time in the world. Riley's flashlight flickered. Then Maya's. "New batteries," she breathed, shaking it as the light struggled to stay alive. The footsteps stopped directly overhead. Silence flooded the house, so suddenly it made Ethan's ears ring. And then, from the ceiling, came the faint sound of someone dragging their foot, turning, as if they knew exactly where the four of them were standing. No one spoke. No one even breathed. The silence pressed against them, thick and suffocating, as if the house itself were listening to the frantic pounding of their hearts. Ethan could feel Riley's fingers digging into his sleeve, trembling so hard they almost hurt. Above them, the presence lingered, patient and aware. Then it came. "Leave." The whisper slid through the hallway, soft as dust falling from a grave. It wasn't loud, yet it filled every corner of the house, brushing past their ears, curling inside their heads. Lucas turned in a frantic circle. "Who said that?" "Show yourself." The air answered again, colder. "Leave." Maya shook her head, backing toward Ethan. "We should go. We should really go." "I tried the door," Lucas snapped, though fear had drained the anger from his voice. "It won't open." Ethan raised his flashlight toward the staircase, and for a moment he thought he saw something at the top, a darker piece of darkness, shaped almost like a person. When he blinked, it was gone. Riley's light sputtered and died. "Riley," Maya whispered. I'm right here." Ethan tapped his own flashlight. The beam flickered wildly, stretching shadows into long, twisted arms across the walls. The whisper returned, but it was different now. It had changed, cracked open into something cruel. It was laughing, high and broken, like a child who had forgotten how joy was supposed to sound. The steps exploded from above. Heavy impacts slammed down the staircase, fast, violent, shaking the railing. The friends screamed and bolted down the hallway without thinking, their shoes slipping in the dust. Ethan didn't dare look back, but he could hear it chasing them, the laughter bouncing from wall to wall. "Through there!" Maya shouted. They ran toward the front of the house and skidded to a stop. The door was gone. In its place stood a blank wall of rotting wood. "What?" "No, no, no." Lucas shoved against it, as if it might melt away. Behind them, more doors creaked open. The hallway stretched longer, bending where it should have ended. Windows slid across the walls like watching eyes. Riley's voice broke. "The house is moving." Ethan felt it too. The floor shifted beneath his feet, guiding them, hurting them. This wasn't random. The house knew exactly where it wanted them to go. The hallway twisted beneath their feet, tilting just enough to force them toward the staircase. Ethan tried to fight it, grabbing the railing, but the wood was slick and warm, almost breathing under his palm. The laughter had stopped, replaced by a low hum that vibrated through the walls like the house was humming to itself. "We're not going up," Lucas said, panic sharpening his words. "We are absolutely not going up." But their feet kept moving. Step by step, they climbed, though none of them remembered deciding to. The air grew colder with each stair, frosting their breaths, wrapping around their throats. Riley began to cry quietly, the sound swallowed almost as soon as it left her mouth. At the top waited a single door. It was small, painted a dull blue that peeled away in curled strips. Unlike the rest of the house, it looked almost untouched by time. A brass knob gleamed in the dark, polished, as if someone had been turning it over and over again. The hum faded. The house was holding its breath. Ethan reached for the handle before he could stop himself. The metal burned with cold, but it turned easily, and the door drifted open with a long, tired creak. Inside, a bedroom waited. Moonlight spilled through thin curtains, silvering the dust. Toys were scattered across the floor, wooden blocks, a stuffed bear missing one eye, a small train frozen halfway off its track. Cobwebs stretched from the bedposts like delicate curtains. Everything looked paused, as though the room had been abandoned in the middle of a game. Maya stepped inside first. "Hello," she asked softly. A shape gathered in the far corner, pulling itself from shadow like ink spreading in water. It was small. A boy, maybe their age when they first learned about the house. His edges flickered, never fully there, never completely gone. "I waited," he said. His voice was thin, worn with years of repeating the same sentence. "Every Halloween, I waited for someone to come play with me." Riley wiped her eyes. "Why didn't you leave?" The boy looked toward the walls. They seemed taller now, endless. "I can't," he whispered. "The house gets lonely. When people come close, it keeps them. It thinks it's helping me." Ethan felt the truth settle heavily in his chest. The house wasn't evil. It was afraid of being alone. For a long moment, none of them moved. The moonlight trembled across the floor, and the boy in the corner seemed barely able to hold his shape together, like a memory trying not to fade. Ethan felt the fear inside him shifting, loosening, turning into something heavier and sadder. Maya knelt so she wouldn't seem tall or threatening. "What's your name?" she asked gently. The boy hesitated, as if he hadn't heard it spoken in a very long time. "Samuel," he finally said. "I used to watch the other kids from the window. They always ran away." Lucas swallowed. "We almost did too." "I know," Samuel replied. There was no anger in it, only understanding. "Everyone does." Behind them, the walls gave a quiet groan. The floorboards creaked, restless. Ethan could feel the house listening, confused by the softness in the room. Riley stepped forward, hugging herself against the cold. "Samuel, trapping people won't make them stay," she said. "It only makes them scared of you." The boy's form flickered harder. "If they leave, I'm alone again." Ethan's chest tightened. He thought about how long that must have been, years, maybe decades, watching costumes and laughter from behind dusty glass, hoping someone would be brave enough to walk through the door. He picked up the eyeless stuffed bear from the floor and held it out. "Being remembered matters too," he said. "Let us go. We'll tell people you're here. Not as a monster. As a kid who just wanted friends." Samuel looked toward the hallway. The house answered with a low rumble, almost hurt. "You have to let them choose," Maya whispered to the ceiling. "That's what real friendship is." The silence stretched. Then, slowly, the pressure in the air began to ease. The humming faded into a tired sigh that passed through the walls and down the stairs. Somewhere below, a hinge cried out. The front door. Samuel gave a small nod, though tears shone in his faint outline. "Will you really remember me?" "We promise," Riley said. Ethan turned back once as they stepped into the hallway. Samuel stood by the bedroom door, lifting a shy hand in goodbye. When they reached the yard, dawn had begun to soften the sky. The house on Maple Hill no longer looked furious or hungry, just old. And in the upstairs window, a lonely boy watched his friends walk home.